What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Destiny. Today, I have a treat for you because we are going to be starting our foray into the Vow of the Disciple raid. But before I talk about it any further, I am going to let Mara take it away because she's going to give a better introduction than I possibly could.
Guardians, I am not your vanguard and I give no orders, only a warning. The pyramid ahead is not like those you've previously encountered. This one was not left for you to find. You were not guided to it, not beckoned. This domain belongs to a dark entity, unknown in power. It seeks domination of the throne world. Your presence within will be most
Welcome, children of light. Drown in the deep, or rise from it.
There's that voice. Get used to hearing that voice a lot as we make our way through this raid. So, like Mara said, up to this point in the game, every encounter we've had with a pyramid ship has more or less been pretty benign. The one on the moon was a bit ominous, but for the most part, we just got a voice from the darkness and the lead up to the Garden of Salvation raid. And that's it. On Europa, we were actually given a gift. It gave us the Stasis subclass. So up to this point, the pyramid ships have been kind of non-threatening despite the aura that they exuded back when they were first revealed at the end of the Red War campaign all the way back in vanilla Destiny 2. So what's going on with this pyramid ship here? It's been staring at us pretty much ever since we got here in Savathun's throne world earlier on in the campaign, but it's just been kind of a looming question. Well, if you've had any doubts up to this point, those doubts will be erased pretty quickly because this pyramid is about as simple as it gets. There's a being inside, and that being wants to kill us. It wants to kill everything. In fact, he is known as the Subjugator. That's kind of his thing. Rhulk, the first disciple of the Witness. And that title right there, we'll get into that a little bit more. Probably not in this raid even. In fact, that's probably going to be something that we're going to have to save for a later mission in this campaign that pertains more to Rhulk. Because we're not actually going to learn about him a ton here in this raid, mainly because he's such a mystery. But what is known is that Rhulk is a very proud figure, very proud. In fact, the only reason he's even here, the reason he's in the situation he's in the first place, is because Savathun has him trapped here. If he wasn't here, he would be out dominating, subjugating, and destroying everything in his path like he has many, many times before. But luckily, Savathun has, at least for the moment, sort of put him in chains, I guess, so that we can start wailing on him, but wailing on him is going to be a little bit more difficult than I may immediately make it sound. This is not the easiest raid in the game, that's for sure, but it's also one of the most heavily communicative raids, which in a way is kind of a bad thing because, of course, like I've said many times, when I show off these raids in this Let's Play, I'm not able to show the comms from me and my teammates, so explaining it is going to be a bit tricky, but I will do my best. Now, Rhulk is a very proud figure, very arrogant figure, and that's actually pretty core to his character because up to this point, he's been completely unchallenged. Like, even Savathun, the best she could do was just put him in chains and hope he'll go away. Or, well, not even hope he'll go away, but at least keep him at bay, I guess, is more what I mean. She's just trying to stop him from doing whatever he's doing, but she knows she can't defeat him. That's up to us if we can somehow manage it, and managing it is going to be a little bit difficult. Now, I'm explaining all of this now because this opening encounter that we're going through is very simple, very self-explanatory. In fact, so self-explanatory and so simple that this is the most frequently soloed encounter in all of Destiny 2 because you can go through this entire section solo, having never even done this raid before, and you can get yourself some free loot from a chest at the end of it all, which I'll probably end up showing off at some point in this clip. But yeah, you just shoot like a couple of darkness splinters, and then it opens up a door later, and then you get a free chest. And yeah, it's completely soloable, but what this is doing is this is actually getting us used to sort of a mechanic, or at least the very base essence of a mechanic that is going to be important to this raid later on. Now we're picking up all of these resonances of darkness, and as we get each one, we get stacks of knowledge. Once we get to overflowing knowledge, which is 3, we can't pick up any more, but what we can do is then run back to this thing here, which is the same as the resonance splinter from the resonance splinter event, or very similar to it, and then dunk it in, and then it will continue on its path. And we're supposed to collect 9 of these splinters in each little combat section while taking on some enemies, which it's not too difficult. This, honestly, This encounter right here is probably the worst part of the raid just because it's... Well, you can't really make it go much faster than it already goes because every time it gets to a section, it stops and you have to go and collect all of these again. Now, obviously, having a group of 6 means that you should be able to collect them pretty darn quickly, but you still are kind of limited by how fast these things actually spawn. Killing everything is not too hard, but of course, the actual splinters don't appear until you have killed all of the knowledge bearers in the area, of which there are 3. Now, you're going to get used to this mission this section quite a lot, because this is actually not the only time this section is going to make an appearance in this campaign, but we will get to talking about that later when it comes up. So yeah, like I said, grab all your buffs, run back here, dunk it in, and you're good to go. And like I said, it's very, very simple. But real quick, because I know this is going to be a very explanation-heavy raid, just due to the way that all of the moving parts work, and also how seamlessly we're going to be getting through this one, I want to say right off the bat, because I've talked about this before, that Last Wish is my second favorite raid in the game. I also love King's Fall a lot. These are some of my favorite raids in all of Destiny history. Vow of the Disciple is my number 1. This is my favorite raid that Bungie has put out up to this point, and also even taking into account a couple of future raids of all time, ever. I love this raid a ton. This opening encounter notwithstanding, this is probably the only part that's just kind of there. But everything else about this raid is fantastic, and a large part of that is the presentation. I mean, up to this point, we have seen a lot of pyramid tech throughout the game and all of the visual style that brings and everything related to that, and it's always been cool. But here we're going to be getting it in spades. Going through Rhulk's Pyramid is... I mean, it's a sight to behold, let's just put it that way. And on top of that, all of the different things that you're going to see along the way, and the way that the encounter design works, it's all so freaking cool. I really love it. And what I love even more is that even people who don't raid get to actually experience this place in a specific way. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's not completely locked out to those who don't really get to have the raid experience, which I'm trying to give all of you in this Let's Play, of course, by actually showing these off. But seeing it is not exactly the same as playing it, obviously. Raids are very interesting in that way, because it is a group effort. It's an experience, and especially to do it with like your friends and with people that you actually enjoy playing video games with, that really, I think, takes raids up to another level and is what makes them so special. And it's something that just cannot be replicated through visuals alone, which is why it's like, I'm trying to do a service here, but I also know at the same time it's not exactly the same. I definitely wish that you guys could all get the exact same experience, but I know that's not going to be possible for everybody. So do want to keep that in mind as we go. Now, I should also talk about these Pervading Darkness stacks that are coming up. Now, these continue to stack up here as long as those abominations are alive. But once they're all dead, then the stacks start to tick down. Now, they tick up faster than they tick down, and if it hits times 10, you die. And these will continue to tick up for as long as those guys are alive, so you want to kill them as quickly as you possibly can. Now, doing that with a whole group of 6, piece of cake. Doing it on your own actually can get a little dicey, because they hit really hard, and again, this is why this is very much soloable, because obviously there's no consequences here. It's not like it's a darkness zone. It's very doable, but it is still definitely like meant for like a whole group of 6 to be going after it. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to catch up to the Resident Splinter. Get to it. It's moving so fast. It actually does, I believe, speed up with every single section that it goes through. Just a tiny bit more, but that was the last section to get all of the splinters. And now we are going to be doing our quote-unquote traversal section, although this one's not really much of a traversal section, on to the next encounter. This one's extremely simple. There's not really any platforming involved. Now, as we go through here, there is going to be a couple of places I'm going to be stopping, because you can also get yourself some more bonuses and also a guaranteed red border if you shoot all of the symbols that are going to be denoted by this pillar that I am about to run past right here on our left. In fact, the symbols right there are Light, Give, and Guardian. Okay. It's terminology time. This is where we are going to explain how to understand the way this raid works, because symbols and terminology are very important. 2 terms. Pillar and obelisk. A pillar is a fixed structure that has 3 symbols on one side of it, just like what we ran past, okay? That is a pillar. An obelisk is a changing structure, a shifting structure, that has 3 sets of 3 symbols, one on each side. And this is going to be constantly shifting for various reasons. It is all mechanic based. You need to know the difference between these two things. Obelisks are activatable, pillars are only readable. The symbols themselves are learned in this room that I am running through right here. Now, to learn them the way the game wants you to, you walk in there, you walk up to each symbol, you activate them, and then it tells you the name of the symbol. We're not going to do that. That's going to take too much time. Instead, here's a graphic with the names of all of the symbols. You got Ascendant Plane, Black Garden, Black Heart, Commune, Darkness, Drink, Earth, Enter, Fleet, Grief, Gift, Guardian Hive, Kill, Knowledge, Light, Love, Pyramid, Savathun, Scorn, Stop, Tower, Traveler, Witness, Worm, Worship. Neutral is not a symbol. It denotes a lack of a symbol. Remember that. So, these symbols are important to know, but some people like to have their own special names for them. The community comes up with names. I feel like a lot of that was weaned out over the course of the next couple of years of learning this raid, but back when it first came out, a lot of people like to have their own names for different symbols, as they kind of didn't know what they were at first, as it, especially as everybody was running this on day one. A good example is like the Black Garden symbol often got called Arizona or Utah because it looks like a mesa in a desert, so people just called it that. My team tends to just stick to the official names because it's a lot easier to differentiate things that way. A great example is Hive and Savathun, which can be very easily accidentally interchanged if you don't know them precisely, especially because Savathun, which you could also call like Witch Queen or something, that has very Hive-esque connotations, and the Hive symbol could be confused for Savathun's face, but this is why we want to be official about it, because it just makes things a lot easier, and then we don't get as confused by the names as we're shouting them out, because you're going to be doing that a lot in this raid. Again, particularly in this encounter. So, this encounter, there are 3 obelisks throughout the room that are scattered throughout the room. And when I say scattered, they're actually set in like a triangular pattern. I am up on the top left obelisk. There is a group on the top right, and then there is a group at the front obelisk, which is the one closest to where you start the encounter when you walk through that door. At each of these obelisks, we got groups of 2. One is a defender, and one is a runner. I am going to be acting as the runner in this gameplay. Behind the obelisk is the pillar, which is what you're mostly seeing right now. It's got all of those neutral symbols on it. That is the pillar. The obelisk is actually this thing right here with the yellow glow on it, which has the 3 symbols on each side. As the encounter goes on, this obelisk is going to be filling up with that glow. It will actually fill up faster if you let enemies shoot at it, but only the orange bar enemies. The red bar enemies are going to shoot at you. The orange bar ones, like the one I just killed right there, they are going to shoot at the obelisk themselves, causing it to fill up with the glow faster. If the glow reaches the very top, you wipe. You die. Now, to stop this from happening, we need to shoot symbols on the obelisks that correspond to the symbols that the game gives us as we go throughout the encounter. Each runner at each obelisk has to go and collect 1 symbol. To do this, you need to go around the arena and you need to find these orange bar Hive Knights, which I've already killed one, but I'm about to go kill a second one, I think, for the front group, and take out theirs as well. Once all 3 of these are dead, then you are going to get the second symbol. To find these knights, though, you kind of have to go looking for them. You're either, on that pillar, you're going to get either a pyramid or a traveler symbol, just denoting which sides of the room the knights are on. From that point, you just kind of have to find them yourself. They can spawn in any number of locations. So there were 2 on the pyramid side that I killed, both of them. Once the knight is dead, the one that corresponds to your pillar, you will get a second symbol, which now tells you about a door. So like right now, I'm heading towards drink. Once I head in here, the third and final symbol will appear on the pillar, and the person guarding it is going to tell it to me. They have told me dark because I am killing the glyph keeper that was closer to the dark symbol as opposed to the one on the light symbol. You need to kill the correct one to get the correct symbol. In doing so, it looks like I got myself Guardian. Now, I got my symbol, but it is also up to everybody else to get their symbols. Once all 3 symbols are gotten, everyone needs to check their obelisks and make sure that all 3 symbols are on that obelisk. If it's not, your obelisk is not important to this encounter. So it looks like my team's already found it. They messed up the first reading, so they're going to go for the second one. But they're all gathering around this obelisk, and they need to shoot all 3 of these symbols as quickly as they possibly can. So there you see, boom, 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 hit all the symbols. Obelisk accepts your offering. There we go. First part done, okay? We need to do this whole process 3 times. So it's just a matter of reading off these symbols as quickly as you can. First symbol is always Pyramid or Traveler so that you know where the knight is. Again, this is read 3 times though, so you have to go kill 3 knights. Then, after your knight is dead, then the second symbol pops up, and you can you run towards the door that corresponds to the second symbol, and then once in there, you get light or dark to kill the specific glyph keeper to then get the symbol that you need to read to the entire group so that you can all look for it on your obelisk. It sounds really complicated. It's not. Once you get the flow of things, it's actually very simple, especially when you have your own denoted job. Like my job right now is help defend the obelisk, go kill knight, run to door, wait for call out, kill the glyph keeper within, and then grab my symbol. It's honestly not that complicated. The person guarding obviously needs to be very careful because they do have to clear ads. I mean, you don't technically have to kill the red bar enemies because they can't fill the obelisk up faster, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't because they're still going to shoot you a lot, and that's not a good thing. So you need to pretty much just wipe everything out while the runners go around and kill the knights as quickly as possible. But if you are not tracking down these knights fast, you are going to have a bad time because these obelisks will fill up quicker than you think they will. Like, they seem like they take a while until they suddenly don't. Now, once all the knights are dead, luckily, it does reset the timer, but you need to be going through each phase of the glyph reading fast because otherwise you will all wipe. And I believe if you also input the offering incorrectly 3 times, that is also a wipe. On top of all of that, you can't just look at your pillar from across the room and read your glyphs that way. This is why there needs to be somebody at the obelisk actually reading these things, because you have to be standing next to the obelisk for it to actually pop up. It's got like a range and like an area you can stand in to actually get your reading. So there's that part too. This is why you can't just have like one person do all of the obelisk reading just because they're super fast. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you need to be constantly communicating. On top of this, the doors aren't always all open at the same time. That thing that we're shooting in the center, that resonance that started the encounter, that splinter, that opens up certain doors and closes other ones. So sometimes you need to communicate and be like, hey, I need this door open, but then when that door goes open and the person runs in, then another person needs a different door open, so you have to hit the splinter, which closes their door, and you have to constantly be communicating this because you can only shoot that splinter every few seconds. I want to say it's every like 5, possibly 10. So you need to actually be saying things. Now, as far as shooting the obelisk goes, because you have to be quick with the way you shoot these symbols, what I generally do, and the way my team generally does it, is we always have one person have their eyes on 2 symbols and another person have their eyes on 1. So that way the person with 2 can shoot the 2 really quickly while the other person shoots the 3rd very quickly. And sometimes you can have 3 people do it. It helps. You don't necessarily have to do it that way, but you need to shoot them super, super fast. If you try to have one person shoot all 3 symbols, that is impossible. You can't do it unless like they're all in a row, which I believe that it's actually coded that can't happen. You always are going to get them on different sides of the obelisk for exactly that reason, so everybody has to work together. This encounter is masterful in making sure that everybody has a job. Nobody is allowed to just kind of sit around and kill ads all day. In fact, I would say the encounter most guilty of that is actually the next one. We'll talk about the last one a little bit later. But yeah, the next one is probably the worst at doing that because it does have a couple people that don't really need to have jobs too much. But I mean, it's still important to actually know what you're doing. This one, everybody has to have a job. Everybody is participating. Even if you think that like, oh, well, defending the obelisk and reading the symbols isn't as fun. Sure, but you are still constantly having to slay out and make sure you kill these enemies because they spawn and respawn very, very quickly. On top of that, there are champions that are going to spawn in this encounter as well. Unstoppable champions, if I remember correctly. So you have to worry about them as well. I could be wrong about that exact. No, literally just spawned. Right as I said it, he just spawned in. Okay, I can actually see him. And the person defending right now is actually taking care of that for me. But yeah, like immediately spawned in. That's kind of funny. During the 3rd phase, I guess, is the answer. So I'm running off to give right now to get mine. This is actually one of the deeper rooms. Some of these rooms are shaped a little bit differently than others, so you need to be ready for that. There's like another underground room where the chieftains are literally on 2 opposite sides of a wall, so you need to know exactly where you're running because it's easy to get kind of stuck in these rooms. I believe I'm looking for the light one. Yep. We're going to take him out and get our symbol, which looks to be Earth. So yeah, sorry, is it Earth? Yeah, it is Earth. Sorry. Sometimes I get that and Blackheart mixed up because they do both look like orbs with little land masses on them, except for Blackheart's obviously not a landmass, it's the Blackheart itself. So again, this is me waiting to be let out. Obelisk they're not even letting me out. They're just going to do the thing without me. Okay, now they finally let me out. But I'm pretty sure they're going to finish this last obelisk here in a second. But again, you can only do it 3 times. So everybody line up, get ready, and then there you go. 3 times, you do it, and that is the acquisition encounter. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Destiny. Thank you all so very much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to be going over the Caretaker encounter. I hope you're all looking forward to that, and I will see you all in the next one.